What's up, everybody? We're back messing around. What are we doing today? Today is actually day 2 of clearing land down here in the shadow of Mount Rainier. I guess that's the best way I can explain where we are. Mount Rainier is through those trees. Mount Rainier, Washington State. If that's confusing to you, I guess look it up. Big mountain, beautiful state, love it here. Where are we? We are at Victoria's family's property. Everybody refers to it as the 5 acres. I'm going to be honest with you, I think this is bigger than 5 acres. I got to look at the overhead map or look at the survey and calculate the square footage, but it really feels bigger than 5 acres. And maybe it's because it's not developed at all. We have water on the property, but we don't know where it is, if that makes sense. Apparently 30 years ago the well was put in and the water line and the valve and everything were put in, and no one ever connected anything to it. So there's a cover somewhere under 30 years of, as you can see, nature groweth here. 30 years of just overgrowth, and we don't know where it is. We'll make the video of finding that once we actually book the person that can find it. We've been through a lot of trials and tribulations of trying to get somebody to help us find it. Somebody with basically like a ground penetrating metal detector, somebody who finds these on a regular basis, knows what they're seeing. Yours truly here has dug a lot of holes looking for it, and I have found the septic line, which is the overflow. If we were to put a septic line or a septic tank in this property, there is an overflow that heads out to a drain field, yada yada yada. We may do that someday, I don't know. That costs a lot of money. Right now we don't have a lot of money, so we're doing the things that we can do. Anyhow, hopefully we find somebody that can find the water line, and then we'll have water here at all the time, and that will make things a lot easier. We have our RV here, our travel trailer, currently, which is actually a giant bonus compared to staying here in a tent, especially with the kid. Olivia it's difficult to camp in a tent with Olivia. To be honest with you, it's very difficult for a multitude of reasons, 2 of them being bath time and sticking to her schedule. Not doing those 2 things are a little bit rough on her, to be honest. If we don't do bath time, she doesn't seem to recognize that it's bedtime, and she doesn't take naps anymore, so it is pretty paramount to get her to bed on time, because she still does that same thing that kids do. They wake up super early. But now that we have the RV here, it is much easier to come down to the property. We're going to take the RV to some other places this year, but we basically have it here so we can come down, work on the weekend, head back to town, go back to work. So for right now, we're taking advantage of the good weather, having the RV here, and also having the tractor here. I forget the name. I forget the type of tractor it is. I think it's a New Holland. So I was just looking over there to remember the name. So we have a tractor that has a brush hog on it. We don't have an excavator here, so we can't dig trenches very well. But there is that excavator over there that we're told ran when it was parked. There's a bunch of trees on it right now, growing around it, because nature doesn't stop. And someday we'll see if we can get that thing running, and if we possibly need to trench, maybe we have a good way of doing that. Otherwise we might have to rent something for a day and hopefully get all the trenches that we need done. So what is the purpose of this property? Right now we're trying to install 3 RV pads so that friends and family and ourselves can come down here, have a campsite, have a place to camp. Why does that matter to people on YouTube? I've been on YouTube for probably 12 or 14, I don't know, many years now, and I have a bit of a following. Not much, I'm not like a big deal or anything like that, but had a bit of a community around for a long time, and one of the few things that I could think about is doing a community camp out. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if we're close enough to enough people to even try and do that, or maybe it's just locals, and the locals just come and can come camp. Plus, family can come here. Long term, Vicky plans on developing this into a women's retreat. She wants to build, what are those things called? Oh, the big yurts. She wants, AKA have me build a bunch of yurts, some accommodations, outhouses, that kinds of stuff, and be able to do meditation retreats and women's retreats and stuff like that here. That's sort of the long-term goal, but who knows? Ultimately, 30, 40 years down the road, Vicky and I probably will retire here. Seeing how the economics of the United States work, if we do retire in the United States, it's going to be difficult to find a plot of land in an area that's kind of quiet and it doesn't cost $10 million or whatever, but especially by that point, right? So the idea would be to have this set up as a place to retire before we really need to end up being in care facility. And hopefully that's like a good 20 years of just goofing around, growing gardens, all that stuff, and just kind of being able to be retired.